Good afternoon, everyone. It is 5. Give me a moment, and I am also going to connect on Instagram, and we're going to get today started. I'm going to turn off that do not disturb for Instagram so it doesn't get interrupted. All right, if you are here and you're joining me, good afternoon. Happy Thursday, everyone. We're here for day 3 and hear the music. So I'm just going to give this just a few minutes for people to jump on to join us. Go ahead and chime in. Where are you listening from? Hello, Tinley. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Drop in the comments. A hi, maybe tap where you're listening in from. I do want to let you know that if you are listening on Instagram right now for the Anatomy of an Effective Coaching session, and today, my friends, is going to be fucking, pardon my French, amazing. I'm going to drop so much wisdom. You're going to want to jump into the room in the Facebook group. So in a moment, we're going to just drop the link for you there. And I want you to jump in to the Facebook group if you can, because I am going to pull someone on. I'm going to pull a volunteer on to get coached. So if you want to maybe be that volunteer or get that opportunity to watch some coaching in action, then you're going to want to jump in to the Facebook group, because I can't do it on Instagram and Facebook at the same time. I just haven't figured that out. So hopefully, you guys can get that, jump on. Let me know if you see it, if you see the Facebook link, and just give me a thumbs up, and then come join us in the Facebook group so you can watch some coaching in action. If you are in the Facebook group right now, jump in and say hi. Let me know that you're listening and where you're listening in from so we can connect. All right. So today we're going to go through these 6 amazing elements. These elements, my friends, are truly going to make such a big difference in your coaching. Because what happens is when you have a framework to follow that is not rigid, right? It's not a script, but a framework that allows you to kind of just flow with a sense of structure, but also with a sense of freedom. The coaching is actually going to flow through you. So isn't that so fun and exciting? So I came up with this structure, that's what we want to call it, this framework, after thousands and thousands of hours of coaching. Let me just tell you a little story. After going through a certification, and I loved the program, but it gave me a very strict model to follow. And I found myself a little bit like I was in a cage with it. I found myself often wanting to integrate things I had learned from other industries, like things I had learned from the yoga industry and things I had learned in my background as a therapist. And I didn't want to stay stuck to just following A turns into B, turns into C, turns into D. So I started to explore, how could I incorporate things from that training, but also things from the other pieces of my life where my clients were still able to get really big, massive transformations, and not just get the aha moments, but actually move forward and accomplish and hit their goals. And that's where this was birthed from, these 6 elements. I know if you're on Instagram, you may not be able to see them quite as well. And they are probably backwards because I didn't want to mess with my camera and try to flip it all around. But hopefully you'll get the idea. So we're going to go through them today. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one. And then, like I mentioned, my goal was to bring someone on, and I know how to do it on the Facebook, in the Facebook group, and have that somebody get coached using this framework. Sound like a plan? Give me a thumbs up if you are all on board. Amazing. Okay, so let's just start with, actually, before we go through these, I want to show you actually what is possible, what can happen when you use these, okay? When you use this framework, I want you to see the results that are available for you. So I actually wrote it out for you guys. So give me 1 second and I'm going to flip the chart. Okay, so here is actually what's available, what you can expect when you implement and integrate this framework. Okay, what you can expect. You can help get to the root of your client's issues faster. How exciting is that? That's not just exciting for you guys, but that is also really effing exciting for your clients. Just imagine if they can get to their goals faster. Okay, you're going to have, with this framework, the exact tools that get the transformation that they're coming to you for. Looking for, without getting stuck on surface level problems. Here's the biggest thing I see happening in the coaching industry. People coaching only on surface level. What happens is when you coach only on surface level is you will keep coming back. Same problem keeps resurfacing because we've got to get under the surface. We've got to get to the stuff going on in the unconscious mind. Okay, so what else is going to happen when you start to integrate this framework? You're going to blow your clients' minds, guys, seriously, with the level of care, with the level of support, and the results you provide, so that they will continue to seriously want to keep investing with you. That's really good news. Remember, the fastest way, the easiest way to grow a coaching business is actually through referrals and through re-enrollments. Especially, that's how I got to my very first 100K. And I know that every single one of you can do the same thing. So you're going to integrate the most cutting edge scientific techniques that will enable you to show up as the most unapologetic version of yourself. When you show up as the most unapologetic version of yourself, you are able to create the safest space for your clients, which actually enables them to come and share and be vulnerable. And also, that is how they access transformation. It's really fucking amazing, guys. Pardon my French. I talk like a sailor. I'm just going to be real with you today. Okay. What I also want you to know is when you begin to integrate this framework, saying the hard things is going to start to feel a lot easier. So right now, saying the hard things really will stump up a lot of newer coaches because they don't want to hurt someone's feeling or offend them. But what I want you to know is that it's when we say the hard things that our clients actually get transformation. It's those hard things they need to hear. That is so powerful. Okay, what else can you expect when you integrate this framework? Okay, you can start to show up in your content as a leader, as an authority figure. Your content will be so energetically aligned that it will resonate with your audience. They'll be like, oh my God, she gets me. And that energy is what actually creates clients, guys. It's what brings the people into your container. They've got to feel energetically aligned with you. It's the most important piece. You're going to be able to show up and deliver a coaching container, a session, a masterclass, a workshop, a retreat, whatever it is that you are wanting to create, and nothing is going to rattle you. whatever anyone says or does, it's not going to matter because you are going to be so sold on your own value. And honestly, guys, this is the most important thing. Okay. This one is so important. And it's the last one. I left it for last. You're going to be able to develop a deep level of self-trust in yourself, right? Because that self-trust is what you need in order to create safety. It also is what allows you to give up the scripts, guys, to give up the magic formulas that we think we need, the specific coaching tactics. And instead, the coaching is just going to flow through you just completely effortlessly. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. This, guys, is what creates a sustainable business. Refining and elevating your skills is the fastest way to grow your business. Think about it. When you are really, really good at what you do, your work speaks for itself. All right. How are we doing so far? Still with me? Let's dive in to these 6 elements. Okay, you guys ready? The very first element is celebrations. I find that celebrations is the most underutilized technique, tool, whatever you want to call it, element in this whole diagram. And what do I mean by celebrations? It's really important that we help our clients celebrate, help them see what's actually working right now for them. The human brain loves to create problems. It loves drama. Think about it. What do we all love to watch on TV, on Netflix, right? The drama. So we have to anchor it back. We got to pull it back, and we've got to actually focus on what is working. Otherwise, our brains will always be looking for what isn't. So I am curious right now. Drop in the comments right now. What is something that you could celebrate today? It can be huge. It can be really small. There is nothing too big or too small to celebrate. And if you're struggling right now with celebrating, I want you to ask yourself, why? Why are you uncomfortable with it? What about it makes you feel like you don't want to share? Because so far, no one has dropped a celebration. For some of you, could you just even recognize that showing up today is a celebration? Showing up day 3, right, is a celebration. Maybe for some of you, on day 1, we were talking about building that self-trust muscle. And we were talking about the value, right, of creating in advance and deciding in advance something that you were going to do on a day-to-day basis and then following through for yourself. And this is just one of the steps in building self-trust. And how many of you set that and have followed through now for 2 days? That is a celebration. So I want you to stop and start to consider, can I celebrate? Do I give myself permission to celebrate? And if not, why not? This is the foundation. We want to be able to show ourselves and show our clients that we can shift perspectives, right? We can be looking in one direction, and then all of a sudden, in an instant, we can turn ourselves to a different direction and connect with something in a different way. Okay, so the first element was celebration. The second element of creating an effective coaching session is grounding. And we went through grounding yesterday, introduced you to one technique, the running technique. Grounding, as I mentioned yesterday, is absolutely of the utmost importance because grounding is what enables transformation to even happen. Look, guys, physiology trumps thought work all the time, every time. So it does not actually matter if you do all the thought work in the world. If the nervous system is not in a ventral state. So the second element is we want to take the time and we want to take our clients through grounding. And what I'm going to explain to you as we go through this is these elements do not need to flow in a specific order. They're elements, meaning we just want to incorporate them throughout the session. It may be that your client comes to you and starts identifying, sharing a story. That's the identifying section. And as they're going through their story, you realize, you notice, because you're watching and observing them, that their nervous system seems like it may not be in a ventral state. So you might take a moment to pause after they share that story. And as they pause, you then help them shift into a more regulated state. There will be sessions where you might spend the entire session just helping them ground. Once you move them through grounding, then we move into identifying. Again, they don't necessarily have to flow in this order. I'm just taking it in this order for this evening's training. Identifying is the story. It's separating out the facts. It's finding really, where are we going to coach today? What specifically are we going to be coaching on? And in order to do that, we have to be able to weave through the story with questions, with a very specific cadence, with a specific tone, in order to identify really what's happening. This is where you start to begin to identify the situation, the circumstance that we're actually coaching on. Often your clients may bring with you a very long story. I've gotten lots of them. We have to be able to sift through it and often even interrupt our clients so we can actually get to the meat and the potatoes, right? The root of what's happening here. It is in the inquiry and witnessing phase where we peel back the layers to truly understand and see what's happening for this client. This inquiry witnessing phase, this processing phase, should be the majority of your session most of the time, guys. Let me give you an example of what witnessing inquiry actually looks like. So let's just say, for example, a client comes to you and they want to lose weight, okay? And they tell you, I really want to lose weight, but every night at 8 p.m., I go into the cabinet and I reach for the Oreos. And I can't seem to stop myself from eating those Oreos. So you could just address the Oreos and try to strategize with them, but I can guarantee you they're going to keep eating those freaking Oreos. We need to understand, we need to witness them. We need to understand what the Oreos represent for them. And how we do that is by exploring, by being curious and really fully understanding this person and witnessing, right, this experience. There's a very specific process that I teach you in the somatic coaching certification, so you can do this in a very beautiful, graceful way. So you can do this where you're able to have that client feel seen and heard, which is honestly one of the most profound things as humans that we can be the receiver of. So if you want to know how to do this, you want to be able to do this in a masterful way, I really want to encourage you to put in your application today, because we have a very limited amount of spots. But the witnessing is the place where the clients are able to share with us from their unconscious, really. And it's not something that we can go in knowing. We're not going to know. We know by learning to trust our own body and the signals our body is creating for us from within, and then leaning into those as we explore. It is this work here in the inquiry and witnessing and processing where true transformation I see happens time and time again. So when you are witnessing your client, we are also breaking apart the trauma and the shame. This is where trauma-informed coaching lives. And I'm not going to go into more detail on that right now, but do know that this framework is built from a trauma-informed approach. And that's extremely important, in my opinion. Almost every human I know has some level of trauma that they are working through. So after we move through the inquiry and the witnessing, we're going to move into the processing phase. Processing, also very much known as, in my opinion, somatics. This is so important. That's why I named the whole certification after it. This is the piece that I see so many coaching certifications, because I've been through several of them, not addressing, not going very deep with. And I don't know why, because this is the magic, guys. When you can help someone fully process an emotion, it's not to mean it may not come up again. But when they can process through it, that's when the action will stick. If we don't, those lingering emotions that are living in our bodies will often hold us back. So we have several different ways we can process emotion, but the important thing is that we are tuning into the wisdom of the body, our bodies and our clients' bodies, that we're paying attention, not just to the words they say, but also to body language, that we're paying attention to breath. We're paying attention to the visible signs that may not match the words they're saying, because the body actually speaks the unconscious mind. The unconscious, when we bring it to the surface, this is how we create transformation, guys. This is the magic. After processing this last element I have is actionize. So all the aha moments, all the processing, all the inquiry, necessary, extremely important, very valuable, and not going to get people to goals if we don't help them create an action plan. Now, the action plan must come from them. Hear that again. The action plan must come from them. We don't create their action plan. We help support them by helping explore and investigate what that action plan will be. It's not to say at times we might have strategies and tactics that we suggest, but ultimately the action plan must come from them in order for them to apply it and to move forward with it, okay? So these are the 6 elements. And I definitely wanted to leave some time for questions. I wanted to talk a little about, no, I'm not going to talk about that. Instead, what I wanted to do was bring on someone to coach. So if you're in the Instagram chat, like I mentioned, let me grab the link. I'm going to put it in the comments. And let's just go ahead and there, join us if you can. Oops, that's not right. I don't know if it went in. Yeah, you can join us inside the Facebook group where I'm going to bring on a client. Okay. So I'll just give it a few minutes. So any of you guys on Instagram that want to join us in the Facebook group can come join us, and I will see you Instagram friends there. If not, here's what I want you to know, my friends who are watching on Instagram. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. we have 2 real-time coaching feedback calls. So what you get to do is come, coach, get coached, and get some feedback. This is the fastest way you're going to elevate your skills. We need feedback to see what's going well and where we need to tweak. All right, friends, Instagram friends, hopefully see you in the Facebook group soon. 1 second. I'm just going to give Facebook group 1 second to see if any of the people would like to join us. If you're in the Facebook group, go ahead and raise your hand if you would like to be coached. And in just a moment, I'm going to bring hopefully Allie on. Allie has volunteered to let me coach her. All right. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's funny is for some reason I can usually see the chat. I couldn't see the chat.
Yeah, I was commenting. I see that other people were as well, but I didn't think you were seeing it.
No, I couldn't see any of it. It was the weirdest thing. I could see all the people commenting on Instagram.
Huh.
Anyway, so what should we coach on today?
What should we coach on today? How about this whole, sort of build up of anxiety of it's time to get started. It's time to become a coach. I need to step into that next stage of, okay, let's put this past 6 months and this certification, let's put it in action. And there's anxiety behind it for sure.
There's some anxiety behind it.
Okay. Yeah.
Before we dive into that, is there something that we could celebrate?
Yeah, I actually had put it in the chat. I spoke with a dear friend, an old college friend, and she has lots and lots and lots of connections. And she also knows other coaches, and she also knows people who have started businesses, and she has started a business. And she's like, Allie, I've got a lot of connections for you, and I'm going to give you numbers, and I'm going to have you talk to other people. And I have a good friend here and a good friend there. And so she was like really energized for me and helping me to realize it'll all fall into place. It'll all fall into place.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Connections are the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit right now. You said it's time to get started. You have this friend that totally witnessed you, sees you, and is like, oh my God, yes, you're going to do this. You're going to be amazing. And for you, though, there's some anxiety, as you mentioned, about getting started.
Exactly. I feel like I have a lot of connections with a lot of people. So I feel like that's sort of going to be my way. I know that I need to open up my social media platforms. I only am on Facebook. I know that I need to jump into a couple others. And I said to her, I need to get onto Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram. And she's like, whoa. Why don't you do one at a time? Don't make it so big. And I was like, wow, are you coaching me right now? It's kind of funny. And then she said, LinkedIn seems like one of the ones. And she was talking about businesses, how a lot of businesses nowadays will say to their employees, if you need coaching, if you need therapy, and they sort of provide it. So she was helping me look on that. And she said, just kind of take it slow, do one thing at a time. But she said with me, she thinks it's going to be more word of mouth and putting myself out there in my platforms, like you and I have talked about, like my synagogue or my mom's group around in my neighborhood, that kind of thing.
And where's the anxiety coming from?
Like I said, it's time to sort of kick it in gear, where I've sort of been I've been procrastinating, saying, well, I'm not done with my certification yet. I'm not done with my training yet. So I don't have to really think about it now. And it's around the corner. We're about a month out. And the anxiety is, how am I going to get clients? How am I going to be believable? How am I going to show everybody that I'm more than just who they've known me to be all these years, but now I'm also a life coach?
Okay. So how am I going to get clients? How am I going to be believable? How am I going to show people that I'm more than just Allie here? I'm now Allie, the life coach.
Exactly.
And these thoughts, right? How am I going to get clients? How am I going to be believable? How am I going to almost step into this new identity?
Right.
That's where the anxiety is stemming from.
Yeah.
And so, Allie, I'm curious, have you ever done anything in your life that you hadn't done before?
Sure. I think I picked up from the West Coast and moved back to the East Coast and went
Okay.
away to college where I knew not a soul.
Okay. And how was that?
Amazing,
Mm.
invigorating. I kind of created a new identity. I had gone my whole life being Allison, and I went to college and someone asked me my name and I was like, it's Allet. And I just kind of ended there and it was Allie. So I
Mm.
have like this sort of new identity once I went to college as the Allie. And it was great. It was a really, really good experience.
It was a great experience
Yeah.
creating this new identity. So this isn't the first time you're creating a new identity.
No.
Was there any anxiety when you were going off to college?
Totally. Yeah, it was my first time being really independent. And like I said, I knew people that went to this college and that college and this college, and nobody was going to University of Maryland that I had known.
Mm.
And I just kind of got in my car and went.
And what do you think enabled you to be able to do that?
I wanted kind of like a new start. I wanted to, I may use the word blossom. I wanted to, you know, better myself, further my education. I was looking to become a teacher at the time, so I really wanted to, start jumping into learning what it takes to become a teacher, and just kind of like the newness of it all. I think was uber exciting for me.
Okay. Uber exciting. And you said there was some anxiety.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And do you remember what any of that anxiety was about?
probably the same things I was excited about: the newness, the creating a new identity. I think like fitting in too. I didn't know what kind of people I'd be going to school with. So would I fit in? I was a California girl and here I was going to University of Maryland, and I didn't know anybody from Maryland, and I don't know that many people knew people from California. So yeah, a sense of like fitting in. And I was older. By the time I went away to college, I was already 21, where most people were 18 and 19. So I also felt like, again, like, will I fit in or will I look like the old lady trying to go back to school?
Okay. Really fascinating, right? Because some of it's actually quite similar, right? It's, we're creating a new identity as you step into this new career, right? And there is probably some of that same, are people going to like me, right? Like you said, am I going to be believable?
Right. Right.
And so you also mentioned that the anxiety and the excitement were actually the same thing. The
If
same
I
thing that you're excited
Yeah.
about, you were also anxious about.
Yeah, if I think back about it now, yeah. And you're right. I think it's very similar to now. It's very parallel.
Yeah.
Is it going to work out? Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Is it going to work out? I can't wait.
Okay. And let's take a moment and let's process some of that anxiety. Okay. You okay with that?
Sure.
In front of whoever is watching us right now?
Bring it on.
Okay. So go ahead and just put your feet on the ground. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. If you're not, that's okay. They can stay open. And I want you to just take a couple really slow, deep breaths just into your body. And as you're breathing into your body, I want you to just notice, observe where that anxiety is.
Like it's in my chest.
Chest. Okay. And I notice your hand on your chest. Can you tell me what that feels like for you?
Kind of like a fast beating heart, but like larger than your heart. Like it kind of takes up the whole chest.
Okay.
Just
And
kind of like
you took your fingers and they're kind of like going in and out, sprinkling in and
Yeah.
out. It's almost like
like a heartbeat.
yeah, like a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just keep the heartbeat in your hands for a moment. Okay. And tell me a little bit about that heartbeat right now. Is it fast? Is it slow?
I feel like it's faster than a typical heartbeat. It's
Okay.
the sort of the adrenaline kind of picking it up. So I feel it's almost like the tingling when your foot falls asleep. It's kind of like,
Yeah. Okay. And is there anything else that comes to mind as as you feel this heartbeat?
I want it to slow down.
Want it to slow down. Okay. Okay. Let's try something out. What if we make it faster first? Can you make it really fast? Like so fast that your fingers almost feel like they're going to fall off. Okay. And then I want you to actually make it bigger. Okay. And just keep making it bigger and faster and just play with it for a moment. See what happens. Okay. And then just let's start to bring it in a little bit. Bring it back to its original shape. And then now let's go ahead and I want you to slow it down. Maybe almost to where the beat stops. But not quite, right? Because our heartbeats don't stop. Thank God. Okay. And then notice right now, let's take it just to whatever feels like it actually feels like right now. If it's slow like that, is it faster than that? Is it smaller? Is it bigger? And has it changed at all?
Yeah, I think it's calmer.
A little bit calmer. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to actually take a deep breath and I want you to visualize that breath going into your hands right now, into that heartbeat, and see what happens. Just like really big deep breath in and a really big deep breath out. I'm going to do it 2 more times. So breathe in and then breathe out. And just one more time, really big breath in. And then breath out. And then just notice how it feels.
Sort of feels like it's more in a natural state now.
Okay. And if you're comfortable with it, if it's okay, I want you to just take it and just like kind of put it on the ground. Okay. And just look at it down there. Okay. Is there anything that's coming up for you as it's now it's like we just took that anxiety, we took it out of your chest, we played with it a little bit and breathed into it a little bit, and now we've put it onto the ground.
It's sort of melting like slime.
I love it. It's melting like slime. Okay.
Like it's almost like evaporating, like it was solid and now it's kind of breaking down, like more
Okay.
liquid.
Okay.
It looks ugly.
Looks ugly. Do you want to pick it back up or do you want to just leave it there for now?
I don't like how it looks now. It
Okay.
looks like green barf slime.
Green barf slime. I think a lot of people would agree that anxiety probably looks like green barf slime. Okay. Well, it's there. If you decide at some point, I want you to know you get to pick it up. Okay. Because, it's kind of like I was talking to the level 2 group earlier we were talking about anxiety today, actually on our call, and about how it's kind of like an arm limb, right? Like I have like this called cubital tunnel syndrome in my elbows from too much yoga, ironically. And there are nights where I want to just cut my arms off because I swear they would feel better because it's like a numbing feeling goes through my fingers. But let's be real, I'm not going to cut my arms off. And I kind of like to think of anxiety as the same way. Is like it can be there and we can give it a little less attention. But we don't have to, when we try to make it go away, which is, I think, the biggest misconception with anxiety is trying to make it go away, then it actually gets bigger, right? But if it's okay, it's there. Like, actually, it's there to protect you, right? It's trying to just keep you safe, which is a beautiful thing, right? It's saying, this is a scary thing that you're wanting to do. And your brain is like, I'm going to keep you safe.
Right.
So we can kind of honor it a little bit, like, thank you.
Yeah, I think it serves its purpose. Um, Sort of to show me that it's okay to feel anxious because eventually you won't. So
Mm,
if you don't know that feeling, you won't appreciate when it's not there anymore.
yeah. So kind of like when you went off to school, right?
Yeah.
But then it turned out it turned out okay,
Yeah.
and it dissipated, and you became Allie.
Yeah.
And so, Allie, the life coach, can you picture in your mind that identity?
I hear myself saying the words, I am a life coach, and I believe it. I don't know if I can quite picture it yet.
Okay. Okay. I think that's the first step when we talk about an action plan. It's to step into a new identity. I think we need to start, I think it's starting to play with, can I see, like, putting ourselves in the role, right? So when you went off to school, my guess, could you imagine exactly as it's going to be? No. Just like we can't imagine exactly how this is going to turn out. But my guess is you're like, well, I'm going to be sitting in a lecture hall, probably with a bunch of other kids, and I'm going to be in a dorm room. And there were things that you could somewhat grasp onto.
Mhm.
And that's what our brains do. They spend a lot of the day actually in what we call dreaming mode. And I'd be interested to see what happens if you let yourself start to play around a little bit with maybe what you want that identity to be like for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, like it's easy to kind of think about it and visualize it, um, and believe in it. But I don't know if I actually see it yet.
Hey,
It's there. I know it's there. And I almost feel like I want to see it. I want to step outside and look in and see me coaching somebody.
okay. And what do you think might be, is there something that's kind of holding you back from seeing that?
I think like the conversations we've had a lot with in our cohort, like how do I get the clients? How do I get the clients? What if there are no clients? I mean, you had told me to put myself out there, and I put it out on Facebook, and sort of had a joke with myself, like everybody was so complimentary, and you're going to be amazing, you're going to be great, and I was like, that's awesome. Need some clients. Like, thank you for telling me that I'm going to be great. That wasn't the purpose of this post. It was hoping that it would, connect to somebody saying, oh, I have a friend, or oh, my daughter could use, or oh, whatever.
Yeah, but is that even 100% true, right? Because our celebration was a friend who wants to put you in connection, right?
Yeah.
With,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
with potential people.
Yeah. Right. And she did start by saying, I saw your post. I'm so proud of you.
And do you need clients to really step into being a life coach?
I think yes, I think that is my validation,
Ooh,
my
okay.
reward.
You're looking for the external validation.
Yeah.
Here's what I want everyone to hear this right now. This is so important. As long as we are looking for external validation, we will always be looking for external validation. We will never feel enough. We
Hmm.
will never feel ready. We will never feel whatever's coming up for you. The validation has to come from you. You can actually be a life coach when you have one client, 0 clients, and 10 clients, because being a life coach isn't determined by having clients. Being a life coach is the way you live your life. Because remember, you are your first client. You have one client always, you.
Right. I
So
think it gets more into like the monetary side. My husband and I had a conversation last night where he was like, "Are you excited? You're about to get started, and how do you get your first client? And I can't even imagine doing that. And that's so great, and blah blah blah." But then he was sort of like, "So when does your money start rolling in?" Kind of thing, you know. And I'm like, "I don't
yeah,
know." And then
yeah.
you feel
And
that pressure.
yeah, and then you feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. The clients don't ever come when we put pressure on. They come when we're just showing up and
Yeah.
being the living, breathing example. So you being the living, breathing example. And then I don't want to minimize the fact that it's not helpful to show up like online in networking meetings in different places and talk about it. Yes, 100%. But that doesn't not make you or make you a life coach.
Yeah. And I do feel it. We've discussed this in our classes. I do feel life coachy in my everyday life, which my husband even said, if you get no clients, this has been so worth it for you. And you're right. To me, there's validation right there. I already have a new way of handling things, looking at things, looking through the tools. It was even exciting. You brought this up today, and I was like, wait, we did this. And I already kind of knew. And before you were saying it, I knew it. And I felt like, ooh, I paid attention in class and it's benefiting me. And like, you're right. Is if you can even do these things, these 6 things in your friendships, in your
With your
relationship,
children, your husband.
Yep. Yep. And I have. And so I guess, yeah, if I look at it like that, I'm already validated. So I shouldn't be seeking it externally. I just think, like, I think that'll be the best celebration for me to chime in one day and be like,
Let's not minimize it. Let's
Right.
not minimize, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
And I just want you to see that when you can celebrate and identify as it first, that's when the client comes. Because if we look for the client to validate us, then it's going to be much harder to attract and create the client. But when you're coming from a place of, I'm helping myself, I know what I'm doing, I can do this, like that's when the clients come in.
Mm.
So the thing that gets a little funky, well, you'll know the word cockeye. I use that word in the level 2 group, and no one's Jewish in that group. So they were like, what? But what gets a little funky is when we want the external circumstance to validate us first. And it's not how it works. It works by we validate ourselves, then the outside world matches it.
Mm.
So, Ali, what can you do to start right now, stepping into I am a life coach?
I think, putting that next step forward, actually making phone calls and actually setting things up and reaching out to people and presenting myself with confidence and self-validation, where if I don't get any clients, that's okay. If I get a client, awesome. Just maybe less focus on what if I don't, more focus on I'm just going to take it one day at a time and see how this works out. Yeah.
And start seeing yourself when you're visualizing. Start to put yourself, like I always say, when we're visualizing, we often will visualize like the client, but I want you to visualize yourself coaching the client.
Mm.
That's the next step. You got to put yourself into the visualization.
Yeah. It almost seems surreal.
And it will.
Yeah.
And then the more you do it one day, it will just happen quicker than you even imagine.
Yeah. It's like you said, anything out the gate causes anxiety and makes you doubt yourself, and you're looking for validation, and everything that we do, so being a mom for the first time, all that kind of stuff, you never felt like, am I doing it right? Am I did that? And in the end, like, I got to the next day. All the kids are still alive. That's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, all the things you said, and start validating yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's where all those other things, when you validate yourself and put those into action, that's how you're going to create the result you want.
You know what would work great right now is that practice that you had us do on the retreat, where we had to kind of write down what our doubt was about ourselves, or what we didn't believe or what we did believe, and say it and mean it. Right.
Want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
let's do it in front of whoever's watching, since I can't see for whatever reason. Every day something funky has happened with technology, and this is not my first go, but whatever. But let's hear it, Allie.
I am validated. I have the tools. I have the empathy. I have the sympathy. I have the experiences. I have the support that I need to make this happen.
And what is this?
Feeling self-validation as a life coach.
Yeah, I am a life coach.
I am a life coach.
Like, I want to believe it. I don't believe you.
I am a life coach.
Okay.
What do you do? I'm a life coach.
Yeah. And you're what?
A life coach.
You're who?
A life coach. And I'm here to hopefully, it's funny because I have my own little saying that I've been saying for many, 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 many years. Allie, my maiden name was Dreischman, Allie Dreischman Kaylee, I'm here to make people smile. And I want that literally on my tombstone. She was here to make people smile. So I'm not hoping, I am confident that I will help people smile in one way or another. And through that, give them better experiences in their life.
It's amazing. Yeah. God, I wish I could see the chat right now and see if people are like, they believe it or not. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to click back on and see if I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't let me see it.
I just saw, I had sent you one saying, should we start over, when it was echoing. So nothing further has come up.
Okay. It's not, hold on, comments. It's not, I don't know why it won't let me click on it. It's the weirdest thing. Whatever. Okay. Well, guys, hopefully everyone's like cheering Allie on here saying, oh, you know what I bet I could do, Allie? Hold on.
See if you could see it that way. Okay.
Okay, guys, here's my question for you right now. Do you believe Allie? Answer in the chat if you believe Allie.
Be honest.
Be honest. Do you believe Allie right now as she has stepped into embodying this new identity?
Allie Kaler, life coach.
Oh, it takes a minute. Hold on. It's delayed reaction. I always forget. When you're streaming, it's like 2 minutes behind.
That's funny.
Yes, you got a yes. You got a yes. You got a yes. All right.
Cool. You got a client for me?
I don't know. We got a yes that they believe that you're a life coach. Okay. We got some hearts, got some smiles, we got some yeses.
Okay, good. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Allie, thank you so much for coming live, being willing to be vulnerable, share your fear. I'm sure you're not the only one out there that has this fear. It's a quite common one. And I want everyone to know that step one is deciding, embodying this identity. When you embody it, when you practice what you preach, that energy will start to bring the right people. And you just have to have your eyes open, ready to receive them.
Right. Thank you. This was great.
Yeah. Thank you, Allie. Okay,
My pleasure.
everyone, I am going to let Allie go. Thank you, Allie, so much. And now that I can actually see the comments, you don't have to go if you don't want, Allie. You're happy to stay. But if you have any questions, if you have anything that's come up for you right now, go ahead and drop it in the chat. And I will try to spend the next few minutes addressing any questions, any comments. If you're interested, like I mentioned, in joining the next round of the Somatic Coach certification, I am going to drop the link in the chat. So give me 1 second to grab it, and I will drop it in the chat. Like I mentioned, I really, really recommend applying early because I take a very limited amount of people as to keep the group small and to make sure that everyone gets a lot of attention. Again, I apologize for trying to get Allie on. Took a few minutes, but I'm glad we did. And we got to go through the 6 elements. I want you to just imagine right now, let's everyone, not just Allie, close your eyes and imagine right now if you gave yourself the support. You gave yourself the support to be able to create this life on your own terms, to be able to create a coaching business, or maybe you have a desire to work for another coach, or maybe you just want to take these tools to better your life and your family and really live an incredible life. That is what's available. And I really, really want to invite you to step in to visualize that, see that for yourself, and know that if you have the desire, then it is there and it is ready for you. And all you have to do is reach out and take those next steps to make it happen.